Hi, magic has been around for a long time, but how did it start? Where did it come from? A long time ago, a caveman in a cave thought, I want to do the impossible. But that's not possible, the naysayers said. Sometime later, someone in Asia invents a bowl that fills with water by itself. But we don't know who and we don't know when. So that's interesting. Fast forward to ancient Egypt, Pharaoh Khufu has built the first pyramid, but now he's bored and wants some fun. Some people dance, some people juggle, then one guy called Dedi decapitates an animal and puts its head back on. Pharaoh Khufu loves it and gives him 1,000 loaves of bread and 100 jars of beer. What do I do with all this beer? But that doesn't matter because now he gets to live in a palace. Also, he might not have existed. The Greeks and Persians are at war. But look, the Persian priests are doing impossible stuff. We need a word for this stuff. How about magica? Sure, said the world, calling it magic. Hey, said the Romans, you know those balls you juggle with? Why not put them in my cup? Sure, said the world. I'm sure that won't catch on. It's 1200 AD and Richard de Grimhill has arrived, and he's invented an egg that won't crack and a candle that won't go out. Pretty neat. It's the Middle Ages and people aren't being very kind to magicians. Drowning them, burning them, cutting them up. Reginald Scott comes along and he's had enough. He makes a book to explain the tricks to stop people being killed. Now people are making apples roll by themselves and fish come back to life. They also invent a guy called Merlin.
So,
In France, Joseph Panetti becomes famous for the thumb tie trick, but no one comes to see his show. So he becomes the first person to advertise a magic show and everyone loves it. A guy called Robert Houdin takes it one step further and opens a theatre just for magic tricks. Meanwhile in England, another guy called Isaac Fawkes is doing card tricks. I'm sure that won't catch on. He also invents the phrase, dexterity of hand. Houdin starts making magic clocks and gets pretty good at it. So he makes a clockwork orange tree that grows by itself. Clockwork orange, that's a pretty good name for a book. A boy called Eric Weiss comes to see Houdin's show and wants to be a magician, but he needs a new name and wants one kind of like Houdin. A sort of Houdini name. Houdini, yeah, that'll do. Meanwhile, Houdin's mechanic steals his clockwork inventions and sells them to his competitors, John Henry Anderson and Alexander Herman. Hey, can everyone stop stealing my tricks? No, says Herman, wearing a top hat, and I guess that's what magicians look like now. Back in Paris, Louis Comte has just pulled a rabbit from a hat. I'm sure that won't catch on. Howard Thurston just sawed a woman in half. I'm sure that won't catch on. Harry Keller just did the levitation of Princess Karnak, a trick he stole from John Maskelyne. I would never steal a trick, says Maskelyne, after stealing a trick from the Davenport brothers. S.W. Erdnase writes a book called Expert at the Card Table. But that's not a real name, so who are you, Erdnase? I guess we'll never know. Meanwhile, Ching Ling Fu offers $1,000 to anyone who can replicate his tricks. I can, says William Robinson. Are you gonna pay me? No. So William does the appropriate thing. He dresses in traditional Chinese clothing, shaves his head, paints his face with grease, and calls himself Chung Ling Su. That'll show him, he says, before being shot on stage by his assistant. Houdini's back. Now he's grown up and wants to do dangerous stuff, like being locked in boxes and punched really hard. Oops. Nikola Tesla just performed some electrifying magic, and Thomas Edison just helped Harry Blackstone make the floating light bulb trick. Harry Blackstone, not to be confused with Harry Blackstone, performs magic on television, a new invention that's getting pretty popular. I was first, says Mark Wilson, being the first. Hey, two guys just met. One of them doesn't talk very much, but I'm sure that won't be an issue. In America, a guy called David Blaine has started doing magic on the streets. Let's call it street magic. Back in the UK, a guy called Darren Brown has started controlling minds. Let's call it mind control. Hey, this social media malarkey's getting pretty popular. I wonder if that means more people will watch magic. And that brings us just about up to date. Bye.